What's up, everyone? Today we've got one of the most successful women in poker. She was actually on Spain's top money list for a little while, coming from Spain as well. And now she started to break into the high stakes tournament poker series, having gone to a Triton event. And she also played near my hometown, Washington, D.C. Anna, what's going on?
Hey, what's up? How are you?
You've been in poker for a while, 15 years. That's also
Yeah.
an accomplishment of sorts. Like, it takes a long, it's not so easy to stick around for 15 years. Sounds like you really enjoy it.
I'm very stubborn and I love the game, so I don't want to do anything else with my life.
What is it about poker that appeals to you so much?
Well, part of it is the game, that the game is like, I can always keep improving, or the game is always evolving. It's like, it never gets boring. And that's one part, that's one side. And the other side is just, I like how it always makes me be a better person. Like, everything I do for poker, I do to improve my game. And that correlates with like improving myself as a person
Really?
in general.
How
Yeah.
how does it make you a better person?
Well, I try to eat healthier. I try to work out more, like be in shape. I try to manage money better. I try to manage time better. Like I try to like focus, for example, like on my family more, because if I'm not playing and I have free time, I want to be with my family.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. Basically, it's like always self-reflecting on like how can I improve? How can I be my best self, basically.
Okay, I guess you could say. I mean, it reminds me, as you're saying it. When you're thinking about playing poker, you're thinking about making the best decision. A lot of the time, maybe it's like kind of similar. Of how do you? At least it's for me. How to be your best self is like kind of similar sort of thought process.
Yeah. It makes sense. Like how to do the most easy moves in your life as well.
Yeah.
Like, and you learn that from poker, how to maximize everything you do in life, maximize everything you do in poker. So,
Oh yeah, I'm totally on that same page. So you grew up in Malaga, Spain. I at least initially thought it was a bit of like a party city like Marbella for some reason. I had it confused with Marbella. I think.
well, Marbella is part of Malaga, so you're
Oh,
not so far off. Marbella is a small town from Malaga.
mhm.
So, but I grew up in downtown Malaga. Let's party. Let's party.
So what was your childhood actually like?
uh, it was very normal. Like, I was in high school, like running around my neighborhood. I played some Magic. I played a lot of chess. I painted graffiti, like, and I was quite like nerdy in school also. Like I had really good grades, and my mom always told me like, as long as you do what you have to do, which is get good grades, you can do whatever you want. And I took it by her word. So yeah, quite normal.
Did you say you do graffiti?
Yeah, I've been to graffiti for a while.
Well, it'd be interesting to see some of your graffiti work. Uh, I never thought that I'd like end up doing some myself. Although we actually got like a posse together and did it in the UK, but at a legal graffiti place.
Yeah. I used to do it in like how do you say, like bridges and stuff. Like there was no water, but there was a lot of walls, and like they were cool with us painting that, like, painting there. Yeah, I wasn't so much about running away from the cops and tagging everywhere. It was more about painting big murales, like big stuff, being chill.
That's so funny. Would not have, yeah, didn't expect that. But yeah, I don't really understand how that fits into the whole playing chess and being nerdy thing. But it is a bit, I guess poker's a bit rebellious, so there's that.
Yeah, I'm a bit of a contradiction. It's like I like to do what I have to do, but at the same time, I do whatever I wanna do always. So
Yeah. Speaking of contradictions, you moved. It looks like you moved to Washington, or you moved around that, or I guess to Maryland or something, or Washington D.C. Or I know you went to American University in Washington D.C.
Indeed.
Uh,
Yes.
Firstly, that seems like a bit of an odd decision, and secondly, you ended up playing in Atlantic City, which is like it's probably one of the shittiest cities I've ever been to. It's like definitely.
I used to love it.
Huh?
I used to love it because it was like the only casino I had around, So,
What did you love
but yeah, it's
about it? Just
cheating.
the money or what?
What?
Just the money or what? What's to love about Atlantic City?
No, no, it's just like, I mean, I was playing like private games in DC and like there was no casinos around DC. So every time I wanted to get the casino experience at the beginning, I would go to Atlantic City. So for me, it was cool. It was like, like I started kind of like rounders, like going from like private game to private game, like, and
I
then
see.
like going to Atlantic City in the weekend and like meeting up with my friends there. So
I guess there, but I mean, there must be something cool there. I mean, with all the with so much like all the casinos and stuff going on. I get okay. I can see like the hustler lifestyle being a factor. So why'd you move to uh, Washington D.C. to the Washington D.C. area?
because my dad had to go work there. So
Uh,
I went to university to live with my dad. Yeah.
mhm, mhm.
And then I found poker in America. So
Right. Okay. Okay. So, what was
hmm
it? What's it like playing with amongst the dudes and the degenerates as a woman in places like Atlantic City, where it's probably like I would just think like there's not a whole lot of it's just not like typically the cool spot to be. Because I just see it being like all these yeah, just lots of degenerates and guys there.
well, for me it was cool because I fell in love with poker, and
Mhm.
like as soon as I fell in love with poker, I was just like super happy to go to Atlantic City for cash game, turning stone for like tournaments, like or just grinding online with my friends, like in Maryland. It was just
Mhm.
like it was like the poker fever. Anything poker was fun. So, and then like, and I never really saw myself like as a woman, like in poker. Like I didn't see so much the difference. For me, I was just another person. I think it was a little bit older when I started realizing like, you're not a guy. Like, there's some different things, but at the beginning, I just never saw myself like different. Like also in high school, I used to hang out with like mostly guys more than girls. So
Mhm.
I guess it's just part of my personality.
Oh, okay, okay. Well, I was just thinking like there's probably
Mm.
guys that like hit on you, like that's a common thing, or say things they won't
Yeah, that happens.
say to most guys.
That happens, but it's normal, no? I mean, I'm a girl. They're guys. Like I also hit on the guys. It's like it goes both ways. So I think it's kind of normal. But yeah, at the beginning, I was very like. I was more naive, Like at the beginning, I was more like we're just hanging out with friends, and then yeah, obviously, and I realized that some people were maybe trying to be more than friends, and it didn't work out. But happens.
Yeah, of course. All right, make it sound easy. I thought this was like I had thought like it was difficult for, or it seemed like well, maybe you can tell us a little bit about the perspective of being, involved in the women's community in poker because it sounds like how you put it. It's like not that difficult to just hang around with the guys if that's what you're used to.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't think it's difficult to hang out with the guys, but like there are dynamics. There are dynamics and there's some roadblocks too, Like
Hmm.
I did feel at some point that like it was tougher for me to like get really deep into the community, or like that people would take me more serious or like I spent a lot of like of my career really trying to prove myself to my peers because I was a girl. But I think that could happen to anybody as well. I'm thinking like a lot of people, even if they're not girls or guys, like doesn't matter the gender, they're still gonna try to prove themselves to their peers. But yeah, obviously like sometimes like I do get more doubts because I'm a woman, or like maybe they don't want to share so much information, but not because they don't want to share, maybe because they just don't think they can get anything from me or whatever. So I was always more of like a listener. Like I would learn a lot from listening and from like watching and like kind of being a bit more quiet, because I wasn't sure like um, if they were so interested in like me being part of it. But but it's not for everything. Like I've had really good friends in the community, and like like I know I'm part of the guys for a lot of them. You know, they don't see the gender difference. They chill with me, they talk with me, we study together. So but I can see how it can be tough for other girls. Like, cause also I'm very stubborn and I don't care. I'm a girl and I just keep pushing. And if you don't like me, just get away from my face. And and that's it, you know. So, but not every girl is like that. So I can see how it could be tougher for some girls, you know, that maybe are not so used to like hanging out with dudes. So.
Okay. Okay. I do want to explore this topic a bit more at some point. Was there any being the second girl to come to one of the Triton events and play like, well, I mean, I'm sure, yeah, it's just a little bit novel. Was there any difference in your experience? I actually had no idea you're here in Vietnam, or I presume you're still here.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, actually, I didn't know I was one of the first. I wasn't sure like who was playing around here. But I mean, my experience in Triton has been fucking awesome. It has been super amazing because I felt like home. Like I know the whole staff. The whole staff is like the same people from EPTs. I know Kate. Like I've known people from like very long time because I was Team Pro Stars. I've been in the circuit for like 15 years. So I felt actually very welcome by everybody, and I even saw it in their face that they were happy I was there, which I really really appreciated, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's in terms of the stuff and everything, and in terms of like the regs, like I know a lot of you guys, you know. I know them, and like I think like I don't know, I felt really welcome, to be honest.
Yeah, it's hard to beat the Triton events. To be fair, I think they run some of the best events.
No, it's amazing how this is run. It's super amazing. It like how do you say, exceeded my expectations. I thought it was gonna be cool, and it's like triple cool. I love it. I really wanna keep coming to these events. They're super nice.
Well, I'm all for promoting more Triton events. Certainly, when you're for people who play these kinds of tournaments, these 25Ks and stuff. Definitely check them out. To who's ever watching, play more of these, sell action, and yeah, it's winning. You'll be winning at life by having a positive experience, even if it's kind of tough here.
Yeah. No. It's super nice because even like if it's tough, it's like I love competition and I love like pushing myself harder. So like I've really been studying hard for these events, and I've been like watching streams, and I've been like really putting a lot of effort. Like Triton has been a goal of mine for like more than a year, where like I really like every morning I will wake up excited to study just to like come here, you know.
Yeah.
So it's become a goal, and like being here, like I love it. Like if I mean I may not be I'm not good as like half of you guys, but like when I'm playing with you guys, I freaking love it because I'm also learning, you know. I'm like playing with you guys and I'm learning, and I just love it because I love poker. So it's like super exciting.
Well, most of us aren't that tough. Don't worry about it. And I'm like joking. So don't be too afraid or too intimidated by if you happen to be. So I know that you work quite hard on your game. Why don't you tell us a bit about how you improve and any suggestions for anyone else if they want to improve? Well, let's start with the stuff that you actually do, and if you have got like a routine or anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, it depends like what I'm studying, but like I watch a lot of videos, I watch a lot of courses, then like I review my sessions online constantly. I use any program I can use, like any tool I can use to like improve my game. Like as I was saying, like streams, I watch streams and like I review what they're doing. Like I see like why are they doing it, how are they doing it. So I just breathe poker. So basically, like since I wake up in the morning, I either have like YouTube on, or like I sit down and I watch a stream, or like a poker course, or like I'm talking hands with people, or I make calls with my friends, like, what do you think about this? Like, whatever, like just trying to talk a lot. And yeah, and session reviews are very important because that's where you're seeing like your own leaks constantly. So like you have more room to improve from your own experience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it does seem. I do think for people who want to be successful, it's really important to immerse themselves in the game, and like you said, even like be talking friends with friends about poker, or like you're trying to not make the same mistakes, or find better ways of doing things. Another way to look at it.
Yeah, yeah. No, I love going down the rabbit hole, like with things like with hands and like different ways to play them, and like things that start open, like with the solvers, that they start opening my mind about like things to do, how to understand the game differently.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's like a little bit of an obsession, but I think it's like to be good, you have to be a little bit obsessed. You know, like you really have to be tunnel vision, like to become really good. So
Yeah, for
I
sure.
don't know. I don't know. I don't know if it's for everybody, but I think that's how it should be.
Well, yeah, for everyone who wants to pursue this kind of life and play high rollers and that sort of thing. I did have a couple of years where I was obsessed. I mean, I had periods. I mean, certainly I was playing a ton all the time. But when
Yeah.
in my college years, especially, I was really obsessed, and that's when I was studying. I was just like in my room all the time, like learning, and my grades were not so good. How were your grades?
Uh, my grade, high school good, in uni they were okay. They weren't so good because English wasn't my first language, and like it was always quite tough to get A's, you know. And my teachers will tell me a lot of the times like, "Oh, your ideas are so great, like you're so good at this, but then you don't know how to express them in English, so we give you the B." And this was really frustrating, you know. This is another reason that when I found poker, I was like, everybody leave me the fuck like it's just my brain, like my game, like I have nobody that gives me a grade and I'm gonna do it worse because I don't speak English. It's just like whatever, it's just like my game, you know. I don't have anyone to judge me. It's just how it is. And I think like coming from uni, that was pretty frustrating to have somebody tell you constantly like you're just not good enough because English is not your first language. It was like, okay, like what you have to say now.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that does sound super annoying, like having that kind of barrier. So it sounds like there wasn't really an issue. There were no language barriers to learning poker, even if when you're looking at articles on the internet or watching videos.
Well, the thing is that I knew how to speak English pretty decent. Like I could communicate, I could read, like watch movies and everything. But like when I studied history and economics, so when it came to writing papers, there was a lot of papers, and it was quite tough for me to like actually express them in good grammar. So
Hmm.
I mean, I could everything. I could communicate perfectly. Like I could write, I could read everything perfectly. It's just like I wasn't that great at like writing papers.
Oh, I see. I see. Okay. Okay.
Hmm. Yeah.
I guess writing would be really tough if you're like not so good. You don't really need advanced math or advanced English to play poker. So there is that. You just need a little bit of it.
Yeah. Math was actually the only subject in uni that I was getting A's because it was like no English papers, you know. It was just math.
Do you
So it was nice.
Well,
Huh?
I know that you had an affinity for strategy when you were younger. You were interested in like learning military strategy. I understand. I mean, it reminds me a bit of math. Do you think that first of all, why military strategy, and secondly, do you think that knowing strategy or like being good at certain subjects in school is quite important for success in poker?
Uh, well, with military strategy is that I wasn't too sure what I wanted to do with my majors, but I always thought that like geopolitics and like geopolitics is really interesting. You know how like the world works and like the dynamics between countries and like kind of diplomacy a little bit. So that's what I was aiming towards. Like when I was deciding if I did my masters or not, which at the end I didn't do because I decided to continue with poker. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I guess you have to like a strategy or games or solving puzzles. Like that's the way I see it. You know, it's like I'm very analytical, so like I really like to solve the puzzle. Basically, like I like to play Risk. I like to play like card games that are not poker. You know, it's like I really like to figure in the game. I think it's fun for me, and that's what really called my attention from poker. Like the first time I saw poker, I was like, is this gambling? And my friends were like, no, it's not gambling, it's strategy. And that's when I was like, oh, okay, let me check it out. And I actually started studying before I played. So I read a bunch of books and I watched my friends play and I started to get a sense of the strategy and then I started playing.
Wait, so you read a bunch of books and you didn't like feel like you didn't get this itch to yourself like I really gotta play. You just like how many books are we talking?
No. Well, super system. I studied it like it was like a textbook from school. Like I was like highlighting, like memorizing ranges, like writing it down, like everything, and then just like different other books. And then I did play a little bit in Absolute Poker, play money at the beginning, you know, to try it out. And also like I gave my friend like some money to go play into Atlantic City and I told him I put you in but let me watch everything you do, you know, and I just sat down behind him for 13 hours and I was just like learning how the game will work. Like I'm very like cautious before I jump into anything. So I really wanted to see how it worked. Then I also wrote my thesis, but this was a little bit later. This is when I was already playing. I wrote my thesis on the history of poker, of tournament poker, how it changed like the way that society view poker, like when tournament poker appeared and it became more of a competition that cash games with cowboys and guns. Like, and when I did that, I had the excuse to read every poker book in the market. So I also learned a lot from that.
Yeah, so
Perfect.
tell us about this article that you've read. How did tournament poker change the way that poker was looked at? You said it seemed like you said implied, or you might have said precisely that it helped people to look at it as more of a game of skill. Yeah, so why don't you tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, basically, like it's the evolution of like tournament poker. You know, like I touched several parts of history, like when I wrote the thesis. So like starting with like when World Series of Poker main event started, like the main event, the tournament poker. Then like events like the money maker boom. You know,
Hmm.
like the satellite, somebody going in, and then just like the evolution a little bit of like how World Series basically like the main event they started creating like all this tournament and people started seeing like competitions instead of like just sketchy underground stuff basically.
It's kind of ironic because I view tournaments to be, well, I mean, the cash games I think are a little bit more easily beatable over like short samples. I mean, there's definitely a lot of skill in tournaments for sure. It's just like harder to see it, harder to see the results, anytime soon.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, yeah, if you think about it, there's a lot of variance in tournaments, and like, I know a lot of cash game players, and they will tell you that tournament players are crazier than DJs, you know, like, and it's partly true, but more than the actual like the thesis was focusing more on like how society was seeing poker players, more than like the game itself. It was more how like it changed from like we are like scary, like people that are gonna bet our house, that are gonna go to another round game with the guns and the cigars and shit and the whiskey. And like, no, like we're playing tournaments in casinos and like this is more pro stuff, you know?
Right, right. So it just looked and was more organized and made more formal and that kind of thing. It wasn't so much about. I guess it's just more about like the crowd and that was around it, and also the the more the more formality of it.
Yeah. How the public perceived it.
That makes a lot of sense. It's interesting because I've recently been starting to realize that it's a bit important to promote poker as a skill game because quite a few people do not see it as such, even though to you and I, it's very obvious that it is, and
Yeah.
it's like many other things are actually riskier, but it does make sense. It's kind of like it reminds me of like when as a guy you like put on a suit and people take you a bit more seriously usually, unless you look like,
Yeah.
I mean, it depends on where you are, but if you don't have it, then people tend to not. There's a difference in how people talk to you a bit if you are dressed up well. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, yeah. 100%, 100%. Happens to me too. Like if I go out like with no makeup and like not dress up, people treat me like a little girl. If I go out with makeup and not dress up, like people treat me with more like respect, you know, and it's perception from people, you know.
Yeah, I guess that does make some kind of sense. Speaking of
Mm.
which, as an ambassador for multiple different sites, would you say you've had a lot of experience on the representations? I mean, you must have had quite a bit of experience on the representation side of things, and um, yeah. So tell us about your experience with all of that as a figure that's in the media a bit more than most poker players, and most poker players don't even have to like do anything, but now you have to represent the sites and do all this media stuff, I presume. Yes, tell us about your experience.
Yeah, I mean, like with my first sponsor, like I was very young and I didn't have any experience, and I was an online person, like I was an online player, so like everything was a lot for me, you know, like the attention and like having to like represent poker and everything. I don't think I did a great job, but like I did learn a lot from it, and it helped me do a better job in the next sponsorship. And also like my ideas about my role in the community changed as well, because like I realized that I was given the opportunity to like represent us all, kind of, you know, like to the public. So mm, it's when I started pushing more like to make the public see it's a skill game. It's a skill game, like we work hard, like, and I don't know, yes, just to like represent the game the best I could.
Okay, okay. I mean, it is. Yeah, it's not. Not. It's not. It doesn't have to be super. The cool thing about poker is that it doesn't have to be super. How do you say? It's like it doesn't require like an intense precision to do it, and yeah, it's not as like extreme as other industries for representation in my experience, where you have to like not make sure you don't trip over your words or say the wrong thing. Usually it's kind of hard to get canceled in poker, for example.
Yeah, and I think they value our honesty a lot. I think like our public sees that we're very chill people, and like they like to see that we're human too. So I think poker is a very chill industry, to be honest. We're lucky. We're lucky.
Yeah, I'm starting to realize that myself, is that there's like many different ways to be lucky, and there's many things that the grass isn't always greener, basically, and that poker actually does
Hmm.
have some of quite a few positive sides to it, like the freedom and
Yeah.
values speaking the truth a lot, or at least you're able to speak the truth a lot in poker, and you can kind of do whatever you want. Well, that's the freedom. You can do whatever you want, and there's not so many
Yeah.
formalities and all that sort of thing. You get to play a game for a living.
Yeah. Yeah, I really like the part that you can be real. Like, for me, honesty is super important, and I'm a person that I'm very blunt, and like I say what's on my mind a lot, you know. And I'm happy that like we're in an industry where you don't really get punished for this, you know. Like it's more welcoming than anything. Like people really like that you're real, and I think that fits me really well because I am like zero fake. Like if I don't like you, if I think something is wrong or whatever, like you're gonna see it immediately.
Hmm. Well, being in the West Coast US a lot and in London a lot, I appreciate that, because there's lots of people that don't know how to communicate in ways that are effective, in my opinion, and
Yeah.
often like are full of shit, to put it bluntly.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I agree.
So, speaking of real, I'm a bit curious about your dating experience with the poker players.
I'm a girl in a world full of guys. So obviously, I'm gonna date guys from from this world, and And actually, like, I think it's quite convenient, like, to date poker players because my life is all poker. Yeah, no, I was gonna say it's quite convenient, because my life is poker. I travel so much, and it's tough to like date someone that is outside poker. Like, I don't know, it's always been convenient. So I have dated like pretty much only poker players in my life. But yeah,
Okay, yeah, I can see that. I will say that traveling, like I traveled a lot for poker myself, and for other reasons as well. I'd like go to Africa on charity missions and things like that. And
yeah,
needless to say, this complicated things quite a bit. Um, it led to some interesting stories, but yeah, I would say that would be like the biggest problem with, or one of the biggest problems with traveling, or one, it would be like pretty big hurdle. Um,
yeah.
I was thinking you might have something to say on the personalities of poker players while dating. But if you've only dated poker players, maybe. I,
I know. I was gonna say, yeah. Like, I only dated one guy in uni before that, but the rest has been poker players. It's just like I'm very lucky compared to you guys, because like I have a lot of like options. You guys not so much. So obviously, like, I gotta take my options here. I don't know.
that's very blunt of you, I think. Yeah, I mean, well, there's not so many girls in poker. You can say that for sure. Yeah, I would have thought that poker players would be. Would you say the experience has been similar between the ones you've dated, or has it varied a lot?
No, it varies a lot. It varies a lot.
Really?
I mean, yeah, yeah. Like, in terms of like drive, ambition, like goals and everything, it's similar. But it's
Really?
what is cool is that their goals is similar to mine. So like we're all like poker players trying to make it, and like we're all obsessed with the game and wanna get better and everything. But then in terms of personality, like, I mean, I haven't dated so many. Like, I've actually only had like two boyfriends, like, in poker, and like
Really?
I just date for a lot. Well, I have a boyfriend now, so it's my third boyfriend. But like, I like to date and stay. Like, I like stability. So
Sure.
I don't know. Like, each guy is different. And I don't know. Also, like, I've dated them in different ages of my life. Like when I was younger, then like a little older, and like now I'm like a bit more of a dinosaur. So it changes.
Yeah, yeah, sure. I was just curious. I just thought like,
Mm.
yeah, okay. I just thought like many would be analytical and be a little bit aloof. But I could be wrong totally. I mean, I personally, when dating when I was younger, I didn't realize what it meant to be a good partner, for example, which is not that obvious of a dimension to improve on, especially if you're sitting around thinking about games, poker games and things like that. You don't necessarily think about some human elements or how you do certain things, and especially if like it could happen also if your like dating life is a little bit easy. You don't necessarily think about it just because like you just like get your you get your needs met and whatever. Like
Yeah,
you don't
yeah, yeah,
think about things too deeply.
yeah. No, no. I mean, it's true, but it's like it really depends on, like, I think age does a lot. Like, at the beginning, like, I'm also like that. Like, the younger I was, like, the less empathetic I was, the less considerate I was. Like, obviously, I was a worse girlfriend. I was more self-focused. Like, the older I get, like, I learned to like pay attention to the other person's needs. Like, I learned to become a team, like, not just like me versus him. Like, we're a team. We work together. Like, we have the same goals. Like, we try to uplift each other. Like, it's just life, man. I think like, it happens with every relationship. It depends on the person, depends on the time of your age also. Like the experience you
Sure.
have. So yeah.
Would you say that the strategic thinking of poker may also have helped a bit with your dating life, or would you say poker was? Well, I mean, it's nice that you're dating poker players, so that makes a few things
Mm.
easier, like working with time schedules, which would be
Yeah.
a That was a challenge for me with my ex who would like travel with me, and I'd just be like totally obsessed with poker. There were like periods where I'd just be like,
Yeah.
there's a period where I found a way to make a shitload of money in a week. I made like $1 million in a week or something, and then
Hmm.
I was just grinding this nonstop, and I just like, it, I mean, I was just too aloof basically.
Yeah,
Um,
but that's why I like dating poker players, like, or that's why I really appreciate my boyfriend as a poker player, because he understands that, like, and I understand that, like, if you're in a sick game, like, I'm gonna be like sweating you. I'm not gonna be annoying you. I'm gonna be sweating you, and I'm gonna be trying to like put you in the best mood I can, because I know that if I was in that spot, like, what I need is your support, not like your annoyance. So like, it's actually quite cool that they get to understand me and that I understand them as well. So
mhm.
it's just convenient. It's more
I
easy.
think the guys definitely appreciate that sort of thing. It's
Yeah.
kind of a rare trait. It's like on the rare-ish side.
Yeah, I mean, it's like maybe not everybody understands. But I think people can get to understand. I mean, my mom understands poker perfect, and like like when I'm grinding, she doesn't bother me. She knows like everything like's going on. She always careful to ask me how you did, like how you finished, like how you feeling, like. She even used to have nightmares that when I will visit her on Christmas, like the internet will run out and she will freak out because I was grinding. And it's like having somebody that actually wants to understand you and support you. And that is not just for poker. That is just like you have to get lucky, or you have to be like good at looking someone that is like that. And like, I don't
Mhm.
know, like when I was younger, like I didn't have that like so much. And like now that I'm older, like I'm with a great guy and like he understands me perfectly. And like whatever like issue we have, like we always try to work it out together. And like it's always surprising how like things can be so good. And like I think it has a lot to do with maturity.
Yeah, that does sound nice, actually. Yeah, a lot of people in the dating world these days do not try. They don't understand what communication is, or how to work
Yeah,
things out, or like have no patience, etc. Oh, there's a number of problems going on, but there's problems that also make those problems worse. Yeah,
yeah.
it'd be nice if more people listen to that for sure. Okay, so how do we actually get more girls in this game? Do you have any ideas?
Man, I've been trying my hardest. Like I don't know. I think like I got to the conclusion that the best thing I can do for bringing more females into the game is just to be an example, because I try to like be active with the female community, but like I didn't know too well how to do it. Like I do like coachings with girls, and like I try to support them every time I can. I believe like ladies events are good for them to like get in the game and like get a taste of it and everything. But I think like the best way like I can help like the community to bring more girls is to be an example, because like if they see me here in Triton, like they can think like, well, if she did it, I can do it. And then they go for it. They jump into the game. So I think like it's the best way to do it, just to like keep having females crash and like be there and like work, and people have them like as an example of what other girls have to do. So
Yeah.
yeah.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, that 100%. I mean, the best way to make a change is to be it. Same. I mean, that is cliche, but that one, I don't like cliches a
Thank
lot of
you.
the time because usually cliches are a suggestion of half, like often a half truth or something. But this one's 100% true. Like,
Yeah.
it just doesn't work where you don't actually lead by example. Not you, but if someone says to do something, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, I have to ask the question: do you think an issue for them is lack of confidence? Do you think that's a big issue? Because I can tell that you're very you clearly have your own way of doing things. Like you don't seem to need much support. It seems like you just like decided what you want, you just went for it, and that was that. Whereas I think that's kind of a rare trait among people in general. But do you think lack of confidence is a big issue here?
Yeah, I mean, I am a fighter. I'm definitely pretty confident, and like I'm pretty strong. Like I've always been like this, and I can see how not everybody's like that, but I also have my insecurities, you know, like, and yeah, like as I said earlier, like I've been fighting like a lot of my career to like show the guys like I could do it like you, because I thought like maybe you didn't take me as serious as a, like you guys take other people. But I think I'm not sure if that's just for females or like it happens to everybody, you know. Everybody can have a little bit of insecurity towards their peers. So I don't know. I think like it's possible that like it's intimidating, you know. It's intimidating, and like maybe like what we were talking earlier, you know, like when you come into poker as a girl, like you don't really know if like they're trying to hit on you, if they just wanna be friends because they wanna hook up with you, or like if they're gonna open up to you the same way they will open up to a friend, like talk hands, share content, like study groups, all this stuff. So maybe that is an issue, but I think that's just gonna evolve, you know, because also I believe that the more girls come into the game, they're gonna also create their own cliques and their own study groups, and they're not gonna need other guys to like advance, you know. And we also have so much information nowadays that like you can actually do it on your own, like, and then like just kind of like digging like in people that you think you like your value to them and their value to you, and like make trade-offs, you know. I think it's improving. It's just a little slow, and I think it's normal, like in every in everything in life, like as a female, you know, we are evolving to be a little bit more equal, I guess, you know, or like
Sure.
I don't know. This is, yeah, yeah.
Well, one thing to note is that I wonder if it'll happen in poker. I guess it could. Is that actually in at least the U.S., women are beating most guys on average in most educational fields. So you know,
Uh-huh.
um, this has been according to research, but yeah, it could happen in poker. It'd be interesting. It'd be definitely a turn of events. I do think more ladies events would be really helpful, and
Yeah, I agree.
I think somehow a less competitive, well, more inviting atmosphere period would be good. Just because I think there's a little bit too much fierceness in the competition um, in poker. It's really hard to like eliminate that in tournaments because in
Yeah,
tournaments, like there's so many like issues with incentives because like if someone has a piece of you and you do something stupid in a tournament, it's really hard to like justify that.
yeah,
Or I
yeah,
mean, and then it's really hard to like get over the whole fact that when you lose in a tournament, you're out. For example, there's like more pressure
yeah.
in cash games.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. Like selling action or like getting swaps in, like I'm unconfident about it too. You know, like I hate selling action, and like I hate asking for swaps and everything. And like in the back of my head, like sometimes I think like, well, they probably think I'm just not good. You know, like why would they like buy my action? Why would they like swap with me and everything? But like. I think that's just like insecurities that we all have at the end of the day, you know, and like maybe like a girl can like feel a little bit more intimidated because she thinks like, oh, because I'm a girl they're gonna think I'm worse. But like I talk to a lot of my friends and a lot of poker players, and like even them who are guys, they still don't like to sell action because it's always a hassle, and like they also have their own insecurities, you know. And I think it's like I don't know, I think it's quite personal, but yeah, it could affect for sure. Like it's not the same that like you are in a group of guys and you all swap together, or like there's somebody that has more money and starts backing the friends and everything, and the girls are there like I don't know, like how to get into this. Like, how do I get some backing? How do I do some staking? But then again, like we're evolving as well, because like now we have a lot of like websites that you can just sell your action there, I guess. So I don't know. That could be a point too, eh? Like the fact that like it may be tougher or to sell action, and maybe like I don't know.
Um, well, that could make it a little bit easier. It's really tricky. I found it really tricky to justify messing around in tournaments myself, whereas in stream
Yeah,
games, who cares? For example,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
what you mentioned you have ambitious goals in poker. So what else is on your what else is coming up for you? What goals are we talking about here? Are you gonna like play the 100Ks and 200K tournaments and stuff like
I
that?
mean, yeah, I mean, like I want to be my best version of myself as a poker player, you know. So like, it's not like today I decide I'm gonna have a new goal. It's like it's the same goal that I've always had, you know. Keep improving, keep getting better, and keep making it to the highest stakes. Like I love high stakes. I love high stakes, and yeah, like my goal is like to get better, work harder, and like hopefully run good and like get some results and like start playing higher, you know. Like I
Mhm.
mean, Triton was a very important trip for me. Like I move up stakes, and I'm not saying that now I'm like gonna be playing every 50K or whatever, or gonna jump in every 100K I can, but like it's a step, you know. It's a step towards like where I wanna be, and I do wanna be like playing high stakes and like be the best version of a poker player I can be. I wanna be the best I can for myself. So it's a competition against myself. So it's just
Mhm.
like going levels, you know?
Sure. Um, well, will we see you on any streams? You could probably get on a few streams, I think.
You mean like in Triton?
Well, Triton is very high stakes, but like there's all kinds of streams, and that would be they're like kind of high stakes a lot of the time. Sometimes they're really high stakes. If they're much
Mm-hmm.
or like legit high stakes, like 200, 400. Effectively, like there'll be I played a 5100 game and it was like playing a 200, 400 game basically, in my opinion,
Yeah.
and the games are good. So like seems like an obvious idea for you to at least give those a shot. I don't know where you're at a lot of the time, but there's like streams a lot in Las Vegas, Los Angeles. I've noticed there's going to be more too, from what I hear. I was speaking of one maybe in India as well.
Yeah, no, I mean, like coming out of quarantine, actually, like I got into cash games and I was playing quite a lot of cash games because I love cash games too, you know, like I just love poker. So everything that like is gonna, anything that I can like learn is gonna improve my game, you know. But I am tournament expert. Like I've been playing mostly tournaments all my life. So like where I
Hmm.
want to reach the highest levels is in tournaments. But like, yeah, I
Sure.
will be down to play in streams and stuff, like for sure, like and playing like nice cash games and everything. But maybe I'm a bit more unconfident in them, you know, because I'm like not so sure. But like I did play quite a lot of cash games last year, so and I was playing like some high stakes as well and like private games and everything. So it's nice to have experience in everything, I think. So yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure. And for the record, um, the highest stakes tournaments, in my opinion, are very competitive. They're quite tough, and the stream games, not so much. So maybe
Yeah,
keep
I
that
know.
in
I feel
mind,
that.
as well as if we're like on the page of showing that poker's a game of skill to some extent, anyway, and also of bringing more girls into poker. This might actually be a good idea, but that's up for you to decide. And
Yeah, yeah,
I suspect you'd do pretty well on them on these streams. At least in my experience, I've not been particularly impressed with the quality of play,
yeah.
to put it lightly.
I mean,
And
to be honest, yeah,
oh,
no. To be honest, I'm down. I'm actually down to go play in these streams. It's like I just haven't had much time because like with tournaments, like there's so many trips, so many travels, like so many tournaments that I don't have that
yeah,
much time. But if I got invited to one, I will snap just say yes. You know, like no problem. And like most of them are in America, so like it has to be like at the same time that I'm going to America and everything. But like I do spend quite a lot of time in America, like when I can with WSOP, and then maybe going in December, January. So if I get a chance to play in them, I'm more than happy to play them. You know, yeah, for sure.
cool. So what's next for you? Like, are you going to Cyprus for the Triton events? What other events are coming up?
Monte Carlo is next. EPT Monte Carlo. Then yeah, I haven't decided if I go to Cyprus, Triton, but I think so. It's just like I'm also thinking of going to Vegas for like 2 months or something like that, 2 months and a half. So I'm quite ready to grind WSOP. But but yeah, either it's gonna be Monte Carlo for sure, Cyprus quite possible, and then WSOP. and then we go back to EPT Barcelona. And
all right, cool.
Well, that's it.
Well, it'll be exciting to see you play higher stakes tournaments or whatever, really, especially if you win. Would be great. I think that'd be great be happy to see it, and happy to see you on some streams too. And it'd be great for women also in poker if like you start beating these like top regulars in these.
We go slowly because I like very methodical, and I like to take my time. I don't like to rush into things, and like I've been working really hard to be here, so like piano. I go little by little, and like, but it's the goal. So eventually, hopefully I'm in everything.
All right, cool. Well, slow and steady does win the race in the real world, especially in volatile situations such as poker, where there's some element of volatility. Yeah, but it's been great having you on, Anna, and best of luck.
Okay, thank you so much for inviting me. And best of luck to you too. I think you're playing today, so.